Hey, this is Craig, and welcome to Behind the Scenes, where I review the gear and the hardware and the software that I use, particularly in the last video, how to record an acoustic guitar on a Martin versus a Gibson in the home recording studio. Let's go. Hi, this is Craig from Craig Colley Music. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to review the gear and hardware and software that I used on the last recording, how to record an acoustic guitar on a Martin versus a Gibson in the home recording studio, in this case, my home recording studio. And if you haven't watched the video previous to this, where we laid the tracks down on a song we're working from start to finish called Kenny's Song. We've recorded the grand piano, the bass, the drums. Now we just lay down the acoustic guitar, and we sample both of these guitars to see which one sounds better. Perhaps we'll use one or the other, perhaps both, not sure yet. And that will be something that maybe you can help me decide as well. If you're here for the first time, please subscribe. Please like the video if you like it and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified of new videos that come out or when I go live. And this is a tech review. The other sessions where I lay the tracks down are more creative, so I try and keep them separate. There's not too much tech in the creative, and these tech reviews are all about the techie stuff. So if you're a tech person, this might be better for you. If you're a creative person, the tracks that we lay down in a recording session style video may be more suited to your liking. I encourage you to watch to the end because you get a full glimpse of how this whole thing works, all the gear that I use, and an overview of the studio as well. Give you some ideas for your studio. In fact, if you're doing something like this or you know somebody who is, you can please share that. If you haven't seen the previous episodes and maybe you want to start from the beginning or just review the last episode that we did on recording acoustic guitar, you can click this card right up here. I'm trying to point with my thumb, and that will take you to that video to check that out as well. And if you have a question, please let me know in the comments. And perhaps there's a video you'd like me to do something on that I haven't done so far. You have a specific question, then I'd be happy to do that as well. I also offer one-on-one consultation, so if you want to get with me on all the tech stuff on an individual basis, it can speed up the process because I can provide a lot of information on a one-on-one basis that I don't really have the ability to do in these videos, particularly for questions that you want answered. So let's get into it. I'm going to put my Gibson up on the rack here. I'm in a booth here, recording booth, that is soundproofed, and it's about a 4x5 size room. And typically I have a sliding door that makes it even quieter. And typically I would have that shut during a session like this, but in this particular case I'm not, because I'm actually have some cameras outside here, and I have another video about the camera setup, so you might want to check that out there as well. Put a card up there for that video if you want to know how the video part of this works, because that's probably just as complicated as the audio part. So let's first start with this guitar. I'm going to move the mic in where I have it. This is a Martin D35 guitar. It is a beautifully crafted guitar. I've had it for about 12 years now. I bought it used. Got a great deal on it. I couldn't resist, and so I always wanted one, and now I have one. And I just love the way it plays. I also installed a pickup, a Fishman Elixir Aura, inside of it here. Pretty handy to get to when you're doing gigs. Lots of settings on that. This video isn't about that. It's more about the guitars and how I recorded them. But that's what's in this guitar when I've used it live, and I've used it live probably thousands of times. Since you made it this far in the video, welcome to Craig Colley Music, where I help you to make, mix, master, and market retail-ready music. If you'd like to receive more information and watch more videos just like this one, hit the subscribe button right now and ring the bell. That way you won't miss out on any of the free stuff coming your way. So the microphone I'm using on this is an AKG 414. You can see on the back the settings that I have. I had it set to a -10 pad and rolling off 150 on the bottom, so it's not too boomy. On the front I have it set to that pattern there, as you can see there. And this is only picking up from this side of the mic. This mic does have the ability to pick up on both sides, but right now it's just heading towards this way. Now you can see the microphone is angled a little bit and a little bit above the guitar. It's picking up right in this area here. This is really the sweet spot of this guitar. And I've done a lot of experimenting with it, and this seems to be the optimal spot for this guitar. And in this comparison of these two guitars, I'm leaving it in the exact same spot so we can get a true comparison of what they both sound like, recorded exactly the same through the same equipment. So that's the microphone I'm using. A little bit about the guitar. I'm using the Martin 8020 strings on this. Actually, I'm going to put my glasses on now so I can actually see. It's a 1254 set, so high E is a 12 and the low E is a 54. I've used these strings for years and they work really well and they last a long time. So that's how it's strung. This last song is in E, so big sounding chord when you hit this thing sounds great. What I want to note is right here on the nut, I actually had to put a little piece of paper because the low E was buzzing. And that's not uncommon. I think I have it in most of my guitars. It's, for whatever reason, this groove seems to either get worn down by tuning perhaps, and it's just too low slightly. And it deadens the string just slightly on the E, but way better than the buzz that would be there without it. So I do that a lot on my guitars, and that gives it a nice big sound. So that is the setup on the Martin guitar. So now let me switch guitars. I have them right here on the wall next to me, which is great. It's like being in a music store. Best part is there's no price tag and they're mine. Now this is a Gibson Custom Star. And also, like I said, this also had a buzz in the E, so I put a little paper there too to bring it up a little bit. And that helped a lot. And this guitar is set up with these strings. These are Elixir Nano Web 8020 bronze, and it has a little heavier bottom end on this one. It's a 1256, so Martin had a 54 and this has a 56. I don't know how much difference that actually makes, but this is a beautiful guitar. I had a partial endorsement through Gibson when I used to live in Nashville about 30 years ago, when I was playing and touring and living there. And this guitar was specially made, and what's unique about this guitar, it has a wider neck. It's actually a 12-string guitar. The bridge was cut for a 6-string, so it's wider. The whole guitar is wider, and 6 tuning pegs on top. But there's much more space in between the strings, especially down here where I kind of have big fingers or fat fingers, it seems like, and a lot of times with guitars that are real tight on the neck, I would just have trouble getting, in there in an A minor chord or something like that, or an F, and have difficulty just making it clean because it was just so close together for my finger size. So this one is great. Honestly, I wish there was a Martin made like this. I know there's a Clapton version of a Martin. It's a little wider, but not quite as wide as this. But maybe after Martin sees this video, because I know it's going to go viral, that they'll make me a guitar to showcase in a video. And that would be awesome. So we'll see. If you know Martin, let him know. So that is the Gibson guitar that I used on this recording. Once again, nice big E chord. So they're recorded exactly the same way, same microphone. And now I'm going to show you the outboard gear that this is going through. All right, so the first unit that it's going through is this old Digitech VTP-1. And this is going into channel 1, which is right here. I have everything set flat. I typically do not record any EQ or anything on these guitars when I record them, or virtually anything, because I like to have the control of it coming in. And a lot of times I don't have to do anything. They just sound good right out of the box. This is a tube preamp. Right below it, it goes into this old art tube compressor, which is the PRO VLA compressor. I have the attack and release set on fast. So it's a pretty basic setup. This is only hitting a little bit of compression, not a lot that really changes it, but the whole thing gets warmed up because there's 2 analog signals going through 2 sets of tubes, and then coming out to this MOTU unit here, which is the M2, which has a fantastic converter in it now. It's actually a very low price unit for what you get, and I mainly got it for the analog conversions. So these 2 cables, these 2 XLRs, are coming out of the tube compressor here, the Art Pro VLA. Then that's routed into both these channels here. Now obviously in this I'm only using channel 1, so I use this for other instruments, and a lot of things I have pre-set up, so my studio is pretty plug and play, and I like to keep it that way. It makes it easier and quicker to record music rather than just messing with the gear all the time. So this routes into this M2 here by MOTU, marker the unicorn. And this is a new unit, like I said, and they have this new chip in it, which is called an ESS Sabre 32 Ultra DAC chip. And I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. Below it, I've been using a Mark of the Unicorn 828 MK3 for years because it just does what I need it to do. But the analog to digital converters are definitely better in this unit than this, so I'm trying to route everything through that. And if I'm just recording one or two things at a time, then I really don't have much of an issue with that. Not really going to go through the rest of the gear right now. We're really focusing on what I actually used on this particular recording. And then that routes into, I use Mark of the Unicorn Digital Performer 10. And even though I've got a larger monitor set up here, and I'll just swing around and show you the monitors real quick. This is the video setup monitor. And like I said, in another video, I will show you how all of the video work is done and how it's set up. But there's multiple cameras that we have set up in the studio. So I use Digital Performer 10. And then there's another monitor over here that I use as well. It's on sleep right now because it's not being used. But a studio review of everything, I'll do that. I'll do that another time. And we just went to sleep. Let's wake you up there. There we go. The other thing that I have set up in this studio, and if you haven't seen it before, my drum set is right here. There's a lot of extra cords set up just because I'm doing this different video. But my drum station is here. Again, with this screen, turn that on. The monitor is mirrored there on that screen. So when I program drums, I have a mouse and keyboard right here to play the drums. And I have another video all about that. So if you're interested in that, you can click the card up there I just pointed to. Of course, you can't see me because I'm not on camera. And then I come into the vocal booth, and I've got the same thing here. I've got another workstation right here to control everything. And that's how I work in the studio. So I've got these three stations that are set up very close to each other in proximity. Is the vocal booth and the guitar booth there, the drum station here, and then the whole setup for recording everything else here. Very compact in this room, but very high tech. And like I said, I'll cover that in another video. There's actually more things to show you, but we're focusing just on the gear I used on this acoustic guitar recording. Now I'm going to put my headphones on and play a little bit of the sequence so you can hear what these sound like side by side. And I'm going to switch to the screenshot here. And this screen size is a little bit smaller just because the screen in this vocal booth and guitar booth is smaller, so I have to change the resolution. So what you're seeing here is the Mark of the Unicorn Digital Performer 10, latest version as of this recording. And I've been using this software for over 25 years. It's hard to believe. So I'm a veteran of this, and I grew up when it was just MIDI, and then it added audio and turned into what it is today. But the basics are still the same for pretty much any recording. You have to have recording channels and ability to mix and lay down tracks and adjust them as needed. So in this, I use the same template all the time. Actually, I take that back. I adjust this template a lot, and I keep adding to it, seems like, but I organize as best I can. In this case, it starts with my main outputs going into my VO that's actually running through this for recording purposes that you're hearing right now. This was a reference piano. In this track, it started with grand piano, these tracks here, which were the microphones here. There's another video about that as far as how the piano was recorded, so you can check that video out as well. We just did the acoustic guitars, which are here. So this channel here is for Martin, and this is for Gibson. I'll show you that in a moment. This is the bass guitar we've already done, and then these are the drums that we've already done. And I use Superior Drummer 3. I hope this pops up. It may not because of the screen size. Let's see what happens here. There we go. And I use Superior Drummer 3 by Toontown as far as the drum sounds. And once again, there's another video about this, so I'm not going to get into that too much. We're going to go to the acoustic guitars. So I'll go to the sequence window. So once again, they're my grand piano, my acoustics, and my bass and my drums. So I make the acoustics a little bit bigger. And I'm going to play you a portion of the track with all the instruments on, then I'll solo them out. This is the layout where I've got volumes on the grand pianos. I'm going to turn these auxiliary tracks off here. I don't need those right now. Getting in the way. Whole different way of monitoring tracking when you work in the digital domain versus the old analog days. Here's my grand piano, and I have a grand piano bus, master bus, so I can turn them all down. This is also in a group for editing purposes, track grouping. My acoustics here, same thing here. I've got the Martin here and the Gibson here through a sub here for both of these. So I have control over the entire mix of these by one volume control controlling that. Same thing with the bass. Here's my bass sequence and a bass master. And then my drums, same thing here. And there's my drum master there. So that's how the mixing goes. So I'm going to just play a little bit of this track and then I'll solo these guitars. So the guitars right now are split left and right, and now I'll solo them so you can hear those, and I'll separate them. Now they're in the middle. That is the Martin. And the Gibson, back it up to the same, so it's the same phrase. Martin, Gibson, both of them. And that kind of gives you really a stereo sound, or a 12-string sound, a kind of an odd 12-string, but if you pan it over and keep it together, like that, it actually creates a nice sounding guitar that you couldn't really distinguish if it's a 12-string or a 6-string or what. It gives it some different color, especially when you mix it back in the track. Now I'll split them again. So now they're panned left and right. Martin, Gibson, together. So be objective. We'll do it from the same spot again. So this is just the Martin. And just the Gibson. So as you can hear, there's a definite difference between the two guitars. So I'm curious which one you like better. And this is just in the process of recording this song, so I'm not sure how I'm going to use them, which one I'm going to use. If I use one or both, I don't know yet. The whole idea of this recording the song from start to finish is figuring it out, and I'm taking you with me on that journey. So it's just you and I hanging out, figuring it out, and I would love to know in the comments what you think. And any questions about the gear that I use and how everything is set up, I'd be happy to try and answer your questions. If you have a question about anything, please subscribe if you haven't done so far, and please leave a comment. For us YouTubers, that's everything. If people don't subscribe and don't leave comments, then it's impossible for it to grow. I'm being completely transparent about that. As I'm learning doing this, I've done a lot of different things in my life, but this is the first time I really focused this much on creating a music channel that's dedicated to showing how songs are recorded from start to finish and the gear that's involved in the writing process, making the music, mixing the music, mastering the music, marketing the music. In fact, what you probably don't know is my music is on all the streaming services. So if you ask Siri or Alexa to play my music, you just say my name, Craig Colley Music, and it just comes up, or just my name. And like I said, it's on Spotify and Pandora and Apple and iTunes and 15 or 20 of them around the world. And the reason I say that is not that you have to go and listen to my music, but I've been doing this a long time. I've probably got, I don't know, 12,000 gigs under my belt and 35,000 hours on stage, and I've done thousands of recording sessions and and recorded thousands of songs. So now I'm starting to share that knowledge through this new platform and building a new audience. So by subscribing, that really helps out the channel. It helps me to get this channel to grow and to reach more people like yourselves. So I really appreciate that. If you have any interest in a one-on-one consultation where I can help you speed up the process and share things specifically with you, I have a vast amount of knowledge in this area that I'd be happy to do that as well. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen so far. Let me know what you think. If you like the Martin better or the Gibson better or both, what you'd like to hear, another sample of it. The song isn't edited yet. These aren't finished tracks. So there were some things as I played those tracks, you may hear little funky stuff in the guitar parts. This is just for a reference to get some ideas to how it's going to work out in the long run, because there are going to be so many more instruments that are going to stack on top of this that I may change things in the process, which is often the case. I have recorded many, many songs and dumped lots of tracks that I spent a lot of time recording, but I just don't know yet. And that's part of the journey. So I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Craig Colley signing off, and don't forget I have another video on the video gear that I used in this setup, so you might want to check that out. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. And that's it. We're done. Okay.